So I grew up in West London.
Yeah, you're a bit posh then.
Yeah, west, northwest, so Ladbroke Grove. But
Okay, not so posh. Not so posh. Sorry. Music was part of the family.
Yeah.
You were doing your thing. Then how did rap come about?
Basically from watching my older cousins. There was a good 5 years older than me. There was outside. They always used to get together and freestyle. Just do freestyles every day. Just standing on the block, freestyling. Not necessarily recording because we never had access to studios at the time.
Yep.
So it's literally just outside because I feel like I can be a stronger influence to my people. I feel like I can be a voice. So that's when I got involved with the trenches, as you say. Territorial areas, postcodes. You know how it goes in this country.
Martins. Ladies and gentlemen, every time I bring royalty, and this time is no different. We are going all the way to the Portuguese heights and bringing you an Angolan king. This man has over 100 songs in his catalogue and is probably regarded as one of the OGs in rap music in the UK. He has been rapping since he was, probably in his mom's belly. But he has, produced loads and loads of albums. And his latest album, which Fake is the New Real 2, is out. So you please go and have a watch, have a listen. But before we do all that, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the one and only Rhyme Poetik.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
I like it. And that's poetic with a K, people, not poetic with C, because most people spell poetic with C. How are you, sir? You good?
Very good, thank you.
It's been a long time coming, man. Long time. Finally, we can actually get this happening. We can sit down, we can chat about you, which is going to be very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, but before we start, of course, Korak is brought to you, BK Creative.
Yeah.
I'm here.
He's here. Thank you very much. And of course, once again, Korak still has no sponsors, people. So, you need to speak to your people in higher powers to sponsor this.
Spread the word, spread the gospel.
Spread the gospel. So Korak, obviously, destination established by that single step. That footstep, it tells us your journey. We're going to talk about your journey, how things started, where you're at now, where you want to get to, problems and situations you've had in the music industry and in life generally. And, everybody knows how wonderful a rapper you are. Let them actually get to know the man behind all that good stuff.
That's right.
So we usually start the podcast with a very simple approach. Take us back to that very first step you took in actually coming on this journey and wanting to get the destination that you want to get to.
As far as music?
Music, life, anything. I like it because it's so open-ended. You could just give us everything.
Well, as far as music, since I was young, always at home, music, house parties.
House parties? What kind of home? What kind of home was this? Your parents were always having house parties.
Yeah, my whole family. I've got a huge family. So my mom's one of 13 brothers and sisters. My dad is one of 8.
It's like biblical times.
So you can imagine how many cousins, big family, always lively, music everywhere. So that was always there as far as the music. And then growing up, a bit of later stages, some of my older cousins got into music. They got into the music scene. They was really trying to make it happen. And from there, I just tried to follow their footsteps because I just liked it. I thought that's something, I think I could do that. But initially, I just liked the environment. And
so you grew up in Angola, right?
I was born in Angola.
Okay.
But then as a baby, maybe 2-3 months, my parents went back to Portugal. So my mom was actually pregnant in Portugal. Throughout her pregnancy, she was in Portugal. But then because of my 2 older siblings before me were born in Angola, my mom didn't want me to be born in a different country.
So she took you back.
She took me just so I could be born there as well.
Just to make sure.
Just to make sure I was born there. Same place as my siblings. And I think when I was 2 months, she flew back to Europe.
Okay, so you pretty much, you're born in Angola, but you pretty much grew up in Portugal.
Yeah.
And similar cultures, though. Like
yeah, similar
Angola,
cultures. Similar cultures.
So these house parties, man, I would have loved to be in that house. So
Yeah.
this was just like family music playing. What sort of music was at the time when you grew up with?
So kizomba, semba.
Can you do the sexy moves and the dances?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Man,
absolutely.
I went to.
I'm not much of a dancer, but I can do it.
Is this because of the rap thing or
No, not
rappers don't
necessarily.
dance?
I'm just a laid back type of guy.
Laid back. Man,
Yeah.
I went to a friend of mine got married to an Angolan girl, and the family was there. So it was like a Nigerian Angolan.
Yeah. Oh, I could imagine.
When the Kizomba came on, man,
Yeah.
my good God.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
Yeah.
later. Man.
I know where you're gonna go with that.
When it came up,
The
I was
dance
like,
moves and so.
you should have seen us stunned. Like, you
Yeah.
don't see half the crowd just going,
Cause
oh my God, this is.
yeah, to everyone else is very sensual, very close,
Yeah.
but culturally, it's just what we do.
I mean, people say that culture, that's what you do, but I'm sure people like fall in love and all that on the dance floor because those dance moves, man, those dance moves are
A
wonderful.
lot of people do, especially I've noticed because the Kizomba scene has grown a lot throughout Europe. They've got these Kizomba festivals everywhere,
Yeah.
all over the place. Croatia, Poland, you name it, India.
I mean, even here, especially when the weather is wonderful, you can go
Yeah.
to like places in King's Cross and all them areas. Have the open areas?
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
just a radio there, and
For
there
someone
are
that's-
loads of people dancing.
Yeah, for someone that's not from our culture, when they see the way we dance, especially the men, and they see like the lovely, beautiful women, they just take it somewhere else. But to us, it's just a dance. It's music.
It's just normal.
Yeah.
I get that. Someday I will get it.
Yeah.
For now, I'm going to be on the other
But
side.
it's
that
the
just
whole
looks at
Palop
it as-
community that's into the Kizomba. So not just Angolans, you got Cape Verdeans, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, basically all the Portuguese colonies from the African
Yeah,
diaspora.
So those cultures are all good.
Yeah.
Well, so you're a bit laid back, and also you try not to get involved.
I dance
with
when when I have to, or there's a song I really like, but for the most part,
So in that culture and all that situation, I would say at the time, especially when you were growing up, rap wasn't very big, was it?
not initially, because obviously I grew up with my own culture's music.
Yeah.
Like I told you, the Sembas, the Kizombas, lots of Cape Verdeans around, so we had Morna, Funana, always very to our type of culture. But then when I got to I'd say when I was about 10, 11, 12-ish, that's when I got into the hip-hop aspect of it.
So what were you like as a kid in terms of growing up? I always like to understand the dynamic in growing up in like such a big family. How were things? What was the usual? What was the everyday life like at the time?
I remember we always being very family orientated because there was always so many of us around. So it was always about sharing, always about respecting our elders. Sometimes, you might want to have a few things more, but you can't because
you need to share it equally
Yeah.
with
You know
a
what I
great
mean?
number of people.
Yeah, exactly, with
Yeah.
a great number of people. But so that created a strong bond from a young age. So I grew up family orientated, if you ask me.
Okay, so and of course you grew up in Portugal, or you were growing up in Portugal. Music was part of the family.
Yeah.
You were doing your thing. Then how did rap come about?
Basically from watching my older cousins. There was a good 5 years older than me. They was outside, and I used to hear them like trying to freestyle and trying to put words together, and I was infatuated with it. When I saw it, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And
Do you remember the first kind of rap music you heard?
yeah, it was probably like Snoop Dogg days, and then after Snoop, it was probably like Wu-Tang, and then the Tupacs and Bone Thugs and Harmony on. But my first vivid memories of rap was obviously Vanilla Ice. Do you know
Yeah, of course.
that? Do you know?
Our guy, Ice Baby.
Yes.
Of course, everybody knows
So-
Ice
exactly.
Baby.
So I wasn't into it, but yeah, and
the tune and all that.
yeah, exactly. And obviously the first memories was probably Vanilla Ice and Criss Cross. But
Yeah, I can see a bit of the crisscross in you,
Yeah.
my guy. I can see a bit of the
but
crisscross in
as
you.
far as me actually tuning in to like, oh, I like this, was like Snoop, Wu-Tang, and then Tupac and so on.
You see, and then you moved to England when you were 12.
Yeah, bro, like 11, 12.
11, 12, okay. But then you still took that love for rap all the way in terms of obviously the culture shock when
Yeah.
you come here, different things, different food. How did the love for rap stay on?
So initially, I started to rhyme in English only, because I'm in the UK now. I'm getting into the balance of things. But then I was part of a rap group called Freestyle Family. So
How did that come about?
how that came about, so I grew up in West London, West.
You're a bit posh then.
Yeah, west, northwest, so Ladbroke Grove. But
Okay, not so posh. Not
Yeah.
so posh. Sorry.
but all around west, northwest, I went to school in Queen's Park,
Okay.
surrounded by northwest area, I started rhyming in English, Snoop, Tupac, Bone Thugs, Mobb Deep. That was my whole thing. And then some of my group members from Freestyle Family started to come from Portugal to London. And for the most part, most of them lived in East London, around Stratford area, Stratford, Canning Town, all that area in East London. They always used to get together and freestyle. Just do freestyles every day, just standing on the block, freestyling. Not necessarily recording, because we never had access to studios at the time.
Yep.
So it's literally just outside. And for a time period, my mom moved to East London. Obviously, I moved with my mom. I got acquainted to East, all the guys, from the neighborhood. And they used to do freestyle ciphers. And I was the only one from that circle rhyming in English. All of them was doing it in Portuguese, because they was pretty much fresh off the boat.
Yep.
And I felt left out, because we'd all do freestyles and ciphers, and they're all spitting in Portuguese, and here I come with my English raps. And I was like, I'm the odd one out.
Yep.
And I didn't think I was good enough in Portuguese at the time. So, I made a promise to myself that I was going to strive to become one of the best at it.
What is the major? So I'm speaking to a lot of artists and all, and they tend to be able to express themselves differently depending on the language. So you're versatile with your music. You can go Portuguese, you can go English. If you have to pick one, which one would you pick? And which one? And in terms of, I don't want to say it's easier, but which one do you feel has a better flow?
It's not easier, as you said, but I would pick Portuguese, because I feel like I can be a stronger influence to my people. I feel like I can be a voice, and I have different generations looking up to me, or just basically.
But I mean, I'm gonna be dirty here. I'm gonna play, devil's advocate.
Go for it.
But music, as much as obviously you want to help your community and bring your community up with you, but music is very universal, right?
Yeah.
And in terms of, there is a bit of a ceiling sometimes when it comes to sticking to particular cultures.
Right.
So, for example, you saying about your community.
Right.
Does that mean lovers of music and rappers that love rap, should they not be included in understanding what you're saying in terms of you rapping in English or Portuguese?
Yeah.
How do you balance that out? Because people that love music will listen to your music and love it.
Even though they might not understand it, because
they
music
love
is
it,
universal, the vibe.
So how do you try to kind of balance that?
I used to be more worried about that at the earlier stages of my career. Because, like I told you, at one point it was English, then I switched to Portuguese, and then at one point I'm like, which one should I do? And nowadays I kind of mingle between both. At this stage, I just feel like, I've got a path, and I've accepted my path. I'm okay with it. Obviously I'll double between languages and different songs. Not to say tomorrow I might do a whole project in English,
Well, I mean, now that you've chosen your path, we'll get to that point. So what then happened? So you moved to East London. You initially didn't rap in Portuguese. Then how did that confidence start coming up? And how was life in East London compared to West?
So when I got to East is when I got to be in the streets. Yeah.
Like proper streets.
Proper streets. Because obviously when I was in Northwest, I was still like in my school days. It was pretty much school, secondary school. When I got to East was when I left secondary school. So this is college days now.
Yep.
So that's when I got involved with the trenches, as you say. Territorial areas, postcodes. You know how it goes in this country.
So you were busting guys up, man. I like it. I'm rapping about it.
Basically, I wasn't rapping about it because I wasn't putting on record what was going on. Yeah. But yeah,
I know we laugh now, and you can look back and smile, which is good.
No, we did have a lot of
but it was
encounters, fights. There was a place, I'm not sure if you might remember. There was a place called Stratford Rex.
No, I don't know.
So
that.
there was a venue in Stratford Rex, and that place was like a war zone. It was a nice venue as far as, you know, music, it was big crowds there.
What led you in the
But-
streets though? Apart from hanging with your boys, obviously, but musically.
Basically what kept me away from the streets was really the music
Yeah.
and Freestyle Family and that whole era and me being close to my culture, you know. But when I was in East London and I got to mingle in the streets was because where I moved in East London, like Canning Town area, it was very territorial. There was lots of guys my age, and they was really about that. And we wasn't a gang, so to speak, but
you just held your own.
we was from that area. And
Yeah.
if we happen to go to a different place, you know, you might bring attention because you're rolling with a group of 10, 12 guys, 15.
Yeah.
That brings attention. And then straight away, where you from, what's your postcode, what's your area. That used to bring a lot of friction,
I find it's so wonderful when people fight for postcodes
which is silly.
that they don't even get paid for.
Yeah.
It's like the council
It's-
doesn't even
yeah,
give you
yeah,
any
it's
discount, but you still pay
absolutely
the
silly,
same
you
council
know.
tax. So music was actually a savior for you.
Absolutely. Music was heaven sent, because I started to realize, because a lot of my guys, and I mean a lot of my guys, got into huge trouble, like prison, shot people, been shot, stabbed people, got stabbed. And it was getting a bit too serious, you know. Some of my closest friends got into really sticky situations. And I thought, you know, I don't want to go that way, because I'll probably be next, you know,
Yeah.
if I still engage in that sort of environment. And I just diverted my attention to the music.
So do you take us back to like?
And then I moved
Music's-
back to West again. So I was only in East for like 3 or 4 years.
Oh, okay, that was an amazing 3 to 4 years. Because
Yeah.
stabs, shots. That's like a movie, bro. When your Netflix series comes out, man, I want to watch it.
By
3
the grace
years
of God, I never got stabbed. I never got shot at, never shot nobody. I wasn't trying to take it there. But when I was with my guys and we did get into situations, we had to hold our own.
I've obviously throw a few
Yeah.
punches. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That guy that you knocked out. I hope he watches this. I hope he watches
There's been a
this.
few, but
Yeah.
let's not go there.
I like it, a few. So,
But you give some, you take some, you know. You know, you win some, you lose some.
so did you ever get knocked out?
No to speak, knocked out, but we got into fights where it got hectic. Took some licks
some-
as well, yeah.
Have you ever been knocked out? Bless.
Possible.
Nowadays,
Is it possible?
nowadays they don't fight. They'll just shoot you now.
Oh no!
Yeah,
These
yeah,
days,
yeah.
no, bro.
Yeah.
These days, about just
Yeah.
respect yourself, put your head down,
Yeah.
and go where you're going.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
impossible for you to get knocked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's impossible.
You know, you're clicking your hands for.
Listen, every dog has its day, you know.
Yeah, facts. I just make sure that I'm behind the camera so they
Exactly.
don't find me.
So in terms of taking music seriously, and you decided, okay, I'm going out of the streets. How did you start pushing? How did you want to actually get bigger? Did you stay in the freestyle group, or you decided you were going to go on your own?
So I was part of Freestyle Family for 10 years. But more than a rap group, we were family. We were actually related. So the name Freestyle Family came about because what we used to do was freestyle all day, like I told you.
Yeah.
And some of us were actually related. So we had 2 brothers, we had 2 cousins, 3 so we ended up calling it Freestyle Family for that reason.
Yep.
Initially, we had no clue what we were doing. We just enjoyed the culture, the music. Initially, like I told you, it was only freestyles. Then finally, we got some equipment of our own and started to do our own recordings. The quality wasn't great, but at the time, we thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
And once we realized that our community here was starting to gravitate to some of what we were doing, that gave us an extra boost to keep on doing it. And
So-
that's what made me stay.
With a lot of Latin rappers or Latin musicians, the community is it's very important. So it should be. I believe your community pushes you up to a good level, and then what happens after that. Now, a lot of the things that you do is to give back to the community and to help the younger ones pave the way. Do you feel there's a restriction? Because in terms of your community, as much as they give you that much love,
There
listen to
is.
your music, do you feel there's also that restriction that the whole will pull you back? And do you feel that you have been pulled back by any way?
It's a yin and a yang to that, because when I started it, we never had social media like we have today. So social media today can just allow your message, your music, whatever you're doing to spread. You know, we got people in Brazil, people in Portugal, people in Angola. It's quick access through the social media. When I started it, there was no Instagram, there was no TikTok. We had to be physically in those places.
Yep.
And obviously, because I was living here, it did limit me from being seen in different areas, because UK was my base.
Yeah.
And at the time, me being younger and not having a job, etc., I wish I could have been in Angola 100 times to perform, or in Brazil, Portugal. So like you're saying, so it did limit to an extent, but not so much nowadays.
So when you think about so you were in Freestyle Family for 10 years.
Yeah.
Now you're on your own. How did that start? How did you decide, okay, now I'm going to break out and start doing
Right.
my own thing?
So I never wanted to be a solo artist. I was happy being one of the crew members.
How come?
Um,
Confidence? You
yes,
just love
because
the
I
family?
didn't think I was good enough to hold a whole project by myself.
Why?
Language initially, because remember I told you I used to rap in English first.
Yeah.
My Portuguese wasn't that good to begin with. But being part of a group, if I'm going to be part of a song where there's 4 or 5 of us, my verse is going to be 8, 12 bars, maybe 16 bars. So I only have to write one verse.
Yeah.
And I'm done for that song. Me having to do a whole project by myself, I have to do 8, 10, 12 songs on my own. And I didn't think I was like good enough to do a whole joint. So I was happy being one of the crew. Eventually, what happened, some of my crew members started to release solo projects of their own.
Yeah.
And by the time the 4th member dropped their solo project, attention started to gravitate towards me, like as in, when are you going to drop a solo project?
How many of you were in Freestyle Family?
So it was...
So like solid crew here.
We was like a Wu-Tang type, yeah? So we was like about 12 core members.
Oof.
And then we had the affiliates of the group.
The substitutes.
Yeah, we had the affiliates.
Hanging around.
Yeah. So I think I was probably the 5th member to do a solo project. I didn't want to, but then pressure started adding up. So when are you dropping a solo project?
So who, apart from the people in the crew asking, who else was asking?
People in the community. So we would perform in clubs or bars, or basically people wasn't trying to listen to rap. When we came up, they loved the kizomba, they loved the kuduru, they loved all the tutti frutti, you know. Yeah, all the they loved what our culture loves, you know what I mean? Like, but they wasn't really trying to listen to rap. We kind of forced our way through. So when there used to be bigger events, for example, if they was to invite like a big artist from back home to come over, we would talk to the promoters, please let us open up. We just want to show our talent. In the beginning, we were like, you don't have to pay us. We just want to be on stage. We just want to show our talent. So we just forced our way through. Whether they wanted it or not, we pushed our way through to the point they started to acknowledge us as like, yo, these guys, what they do is rap. They're the hip hop guys.
Yeah.
And then we slowly started to get embraced. And we used to move like as units. So there was no choice but for them to notice us, you know what I mean?
So you did that, and then it got to the point where the pressure got to you.
The pressure got to me. Like, when are you dropping a solo project? I was like, look, I'm fine. I'm just one of the group members. And there was a guy in particular, he was a rapper as well. He said, okay, I will help you so you can do your first solo project. I'm like, how? He used to rap, but he took a hiatus for a time. And then he said, look, I'm going to get back into the swing of things. I'll record one song. I'll make sure you record one song. I'll record a second song. I'll make sure you record the second song. I was like, all right, let's see how that goes. He stopped at the 4th song.
But then you were already in the swing of
and
things.
I kept on going.
You were enjoying it.
I kept on going. He actually doesn't rap nowadays, and I still do it.
I mean, shout out. You want to shout out to whoever he is?
Yeah, his name's Micah.
Okay. Shout out to Micah, man.
Micah 1.
So Micah 1 is literally the reason why that gave you that.
He gave me that.
With each song, was the confidence growing?
He gave me the push to do my solo career, because I was already part of Freestyle Family. But as far as solo, right at the beginning, he was there like song for song. And it was a surprise to me because he actually stopped. He was the one that got me so into it, but then he stopped. And I was like, well, I've got 4 songs. I'm not going to stop.
I'm not going to stop now. You need to
Let
go.
me keep going.
So for your first project, how many songs did you release then?
21.
21.
Yes.
God have mercy. I mean, I know your catalog is over 100 songs.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to say old, but you're like an OG in the music game.
You
in
could
terms
say
of,
so.
Yeah,
Compared to the
obviously,
new generation, yeah.
compared to the new generation, hundreds, 21.
21.
From somebody that had no confidence. 21
Yeah,
songs.
exactly. Yeah, that's crazy.
And all 21 in Portuguese?
Yeah, but there was tracks where I used to mix. There was a few tracks, I mixed English in between, but for the most part, yeah.
So I mean, hip hop is only about 50 years old. I mean, talking about 50 last year, I think.
Yeah.
50 years old.
Yeah.
In those 21 songs, though, how old were you at the time?
I was like 20, 21,
What were you rapping about?
everything. So my everyday life, things that I used to see, things I used to experience myself. And with the odd song, I used to create like some sort of fiction and then deliver it. Because, you have to use your imagination as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I might have got a couple of songs where I'm telling a story, but I'm just painting a picture, really.
Oh, hey guys, sorry to interrupt your episode. I hope you can please subscribe, hit that notification button so we can get more and wonderful, incredible guests and you can continue to listen to the Korak Podcast. Till then, more thanks. Go back to the episode. So your rap is like people who describe you as, the real deep rap.
Yeah.
It's not selling out, it's not a commercial
Yeah.
rapper. It's one of them deep things.
Yeah.
People do that. I mean, you have kind of had a commercial album, which you did with Don Jagger.
Yeah,
Is
Don
it Don
Jagger.
Jagger or Don Jagger?
Don Jagger.
Don Jagger.
Don
Okay,
Jagger,
sorry.
yeah.
Don Jagger. So now, in terms of keeping it real, so the thing with rap is that apart from, so true hip-hop artists are true real artists.
Yeah.
It's about, as we're talking about it, of a deep messaging, telling people need to understand, relate to it, that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. With rap changing over time,
Mm-hmm.
have you changed over time? And have you tried to reach out more to
The thing is,
hip-hop enthusiast?
I try to adapt without losing my essence. So,
What would you define your essence as?
my essence is my raps are more message-driven or lyrical type of raps. I love the metaphors and the syllables and the double and triple entendres, putting words together, words that you may not even think they can rhyme, but I'll make it sound like they do rhyme. It's all about your vocal projection. And what I do like to tell people is within rap, it's not one dimension. You've got different genres within rap. You've got the conscious rap. You got the gangster rap. You got revolutionary rap. You got lyrical rap. You got the commercial rap. Whatever rocks your boat, that's what you should do.
Can you mix all of it together?
You can do. That's what I tend to do. Even though I'm more lyrically driven, message type of rap, I try to embrace all aspects because in life, it's not just about being serious. We need to have some fun as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we need time to spread a nice message. We need time to love. We need time to party. We need time for peace. So I try to embrace all of those aspects into my music. I might do a couple of songs where it's for you to be in deep thought. You might be at home, you might be in your car, and you be like, oh yeah, I like that message. But then I might do a turn-up song. You won't listen to that when you're in deep thoughts. You want to listen to that when you're vibing. You might be in a party, you might be in a club. So that's the sort of album I did with Don Jagger.
So obviously you're still going because you just, ladies and gentlemen, he just released, his latest album. Fake is the New Real 2.
Part 2, yeah.
Yeah, there was a Fake is the New Real 1.
Yes.
So I'm assuming there's still a lot of fakeness going around. If you needed to release another album.
Yeah,
that
so
Fake is
I am
the
going to
New
do a
Real.
part 3 because I always like to do a trilogy on my
So-
projects.
If we go back to Fake is the New Real
Yeah.
1,
Yeah.
why is Fake the New Real?
So fake is a new real. It's just basically, it's like an acronym that I use. For example, nowadays, everyone's very driven by image, by what they see. But there's not enough fact checking. And people tell a lie so much, so often that everyone else that doesn't know the roots of it might believe it's the truth. And who's checking that? So I might come in a podcast and say to you, Well, yeah, in the past I've recorded 500 songs.
We've checked. It's not up to
You know?
500. Don't worry.
Well, but there was no social media then. Do you understand?
Okay.
It wasn't that much. So nowadays, people just say anything, and
But do you still find that so? I mean, you have released two albums, 1 and 2. Fake is
yeah,
the New
mixtapes.
Real.
Yeah, the mixtapes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
mixtapes.
yeah.
In terms of, other than the social media aspect, so from your time in terms of
It's
when
not
you
just
started-
social media. I'm talking like everyday life.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so other than the social media aspect and life generally, do you, in your time of coming up as a rapper,
Yeah.
and the way you see the young rappers now,
hmm
is it more fake now than it was, or is it an equal balance?
It's an equal balance. It's just that now we can see it more because it's just quick access. It's everywhere. It's TikToks, it's Instagrams. You got all this social media. Now it's really in our faces. Back then when I started, because you never had that much access, you just couldn't see it as much. But realness is everywhere and fakeness is everywhere. You know, it depends on the individual. It depends on your principles. It depends on your morals, how you're raised. It depends on which direction you choose to go. So when I mean fake is a new real, it's like on our everyday life, we all have an invisible mask. Yeah, and I'll go back to my covers. If you check the cover for Fake is a New Real, part 1, I'm looking back and there's a bunch of people with masks on. And on part 2, I'm standing in the middle and there's a bunch of guys with masks. So basically, for those that haven't caught on to the concept, the masks is the concept behind Fake is a New Real. And I mean that when I say we all have an invisible mask going on is when we conduct ourselves dealing with different people at work, outside, there's a perception of who we are based on what we think people see us. Who are we when no one's watching? You understand? Are we really that same person that we portray to be outside to the world? You know? Everyone's winning on social media. Hardly anyone's posting their failures. Everyone posts the success. Hey, I made it.
But this is the thing though. Why would, in terms of not posting your failures, doesn't make you fake though?
No,
does
no,
it?
absolutely not. No, it's not about posting your failures because some people might not want to show that aspect of life.
Yeah.
You know, some people might just want to encourage someone else based on their success. Me, for example, I keep it transparent. You know, not to say I'm more real than the next person. I'd like you to see my journey, you know, as Korak is about the...
Oh, say that again, bro.
Come on.
Say that again.
Come on.
Yes.
Come on. You know, it's about the footsteps. It's about the destiny. It's about the journey, as in from where we started, where we are, and where we're trying to go.
So, do you find it difficult working with new age rappers?
No, not at all.
So
Not at all.
there's no clash in the rap style. There's
No, there isn't. There isn't. Obviously, we bounce off ideas. I learn from them. They learn from me. We keep it pushing. Everybody wins.
So you've done a lot of shows, and I've seen like shows that you've done, packed out stuff. You know, everything looking nice with some other very nice looking things there that I'm not going to mention.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that sweet stuff. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, he has promised that he's going to invite me for all the other shows. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's here on
I'll
camera.
have to make sure it's a good one that's popping.
No, don't worry about big good or bad. Just let me be there. Don't
All
worry
right.
about that.
Yeah.
That's fine. So one of the things now is, where is your... You look like you're going to keep pushing. You're already talking about releasing an EP even after an album has just
Yeah,
come
that's
out.
the aim, yeah.
You want to keep pushing. What has been the difficulties? There's a lot of... Considering the fact that you have pretty much tried to pave the way based on what you had and the time that you started. What has been like the major difficulties that you find? Do people, I'll ask you straight, do people look at you and go, oh, this guy's an has-been, is OG, you know,
Yeah.
let it go for the young ones. Do you
I
get
keep
all that stuff?
No, I don't, because I keep it fresh. You know, I'm up to date and I'm up to date. I know what's going on. I'm in tune with the streets. You have to...
You're still in the streets, still knocking people out.
Streets is in... No. Not in that sense. I
I'm
mean,
joking,
musically,
man.
yeah. You know, if you want to stay relevant, you know, you have to show yourself. You know, it's good when you have a catalogue, people can look back to, that's what he done, but what are you doing now? So because I'm still active, I'm still showing up, you know, I'm still in the ring, you know, I still got my gloves up. I don't get what you just mentioned.
So what would you have if you could have one thing though? So with everything that's happening now and the platform that a lot of new coming artists have that you didn't have, what would you have wanted for your time that is now?
I think people are more receptive now. There's more options into what people can go into. Back when I started, like I said, people was very focused on what they like.
Yeah.
And rap was looked upon, oh, that's for the thugs. It's not so much like that nowadays. It's the audience is much more open-minded. So back then, I'm not going to say it was a new thing, but it was a new thing. You know what I mean?
We have new age rap where pretty much the mumble rap would be
Mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. And then you have, back in the days where people are actually telling you a real story and all.
Yeah.
So that's obviously an evolution of what
You
rap
still got
is.
that now. You still got the real stories.
Oh yeah. So
yeah.
do you have a preference or do you blend with both?
Do I have a preference as in to which one?
Mumble or
No.
the old school stuff?
Yeah. No disrespect to the mumbo jumbo. It's not really my lane.
Mm-hmm.
I respect it. I respect
Would
everyone.
you do a song with a mumble rapper?
Would I do a song with a mumbo rapper?
Would you have them?
I wouldn't be mumbo rapping on the song.
Yeah.
I would still go and do my thing. But I respect everyone's craft. You know what I mean?
So what, other than music, obviously you're very driven with your music. It's something that you have done since you were 12, from Freestyle Family.
Oh, I didn't start my music until late.
I know, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, from
Yeah,
that
yeah.
time growing up.
Yeah.
But in terms of if you want to look beyond the man and beyond the music, you're a father, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have 2 daughters.
Two
I believe.
daughters, yeah.
Yes, wonderful. If one of them decides they want to do rap, would you encourage that?
Yeah, I'll be there to guide her. I'll try to, explain a few things that I know.
For example,
Trusting people,
trusting people as in trust people or don't trust them.
is be careful who you trust. Not everyone's got your best interest. It might look like they've got your best interest. And when they see they can't gain any value out of you, then you realize you was of no value.
Have you been, in terms of, obviously you've had a lot of backstabbing and being scarred.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
there a story that stands out for you?
Because I know quite a lot of people basically, and I'm the type of guy, if you need help with something, I'm not going to hold back. For example, when I first dropped my mixtape, I got the CDs at the time manufactured.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know where to press for the CDs. They're like, oh my God, this is great. Where'd you get it done? I'll pass on the word. Look, this is where I got it done. I'm not trying to be a middleman. Talk directly to the person. You deal with the person. So I've done a lot of that throughout my career. I've helped a lot of people. I've put on a lot of people. I've introduced people to people without asking for a single penny in return. Just me being a genuine guy, just trying to genuinely help, But in the industry, it doesn't really work that way. It's a trade of interests for the most part.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky to make real friends in the industry.
That's actually put. So is there a friendship category? So do you have like the real friends, associates, and okay guy?
So there's people in the industry who I'm cool with. They're not necessarily my everyday life friends, but we vibe with each other. We support each other. Like, let's say you're an artist and you've just released a new video. I'll share the gospel. We on that zone where we cool. I'm not gonna call you every day. You're not my friends. Like, you know what I mean? But we good. Industry friend. Like,
understandable. So,
and then you might, not to say you can't make a real friend in industry, because you obviously can. Yeah.
I was obviously with the mentality of hip hop and rappers being, tough guy, all that.
That's a myth, but keep going.
how did being a dad, how did it affect like your music or affect you?
It made me stay more focused, and music for me was also for my mental as well. It kept me focused, it kept me driven, and obviously becoming a father, I can't just be doing the same things I used to do. I can't be just wilding out.
I mean, you can, but now you can wild out with your girl.
I'm more responsible. It made me become more responsible. I was always responsible. Let's get that out of the way. But I became more responsible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you say? You know, when I said hip hop is all about tough guy, you say it's a myth. Why is that a myth?
Because
You've seen some weak guys. Huh?
it's a myth that whole persona where you have to be
What?
extra
Me?
hard and that. No. That's usually the weakest guy in the room. But put it this way, for example, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I never did. Not like, oh, did you stop drinking? No, I never
So
did.
you never drank?
I never drunk, I never smoked,
You're
I
a
never
cheap
done
date, my guy.
no
But
drugs.
that's-
And I went to uni, I got a degree.
is this just out of choice though?
Yeah, just personal
Just
choice.
don't wanna
I
do
was
it.
always into my sports, playing football. I played football semi-professional for like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah. What position did you play?
Yeah. Initially, I was a striker. Then to later stages, I was like attacking midfielder. You know, like a Ronaldinho type of player, behind the front two. Yeah, that was me.
But that position is almost dead now. You know,
Yeah,
that actual number 10 role.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
few people
yeah,
play that. I think
yeah.
maybe
You
Kevin
can
De
you can
Bruyne.
ask my people how I used to play. I won't boast of myself, but if you ask my people, they'll give you the repertoire.
But that's really good. So
Yeah.
clean. So are you like a rapper that does veggies and stuff?
No,
like that?
not necessarily, you know. But yeah, so when I say it's a myth, because I'll meet people, oh, you don't drink? No. You don't smoke? No. You don't do drugs? No.
I remember I was like, what do you drink? And you told me water. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe he didn't read that well.
Oh, but you're a rapper. I'm like, yeah, so.
So when you're like hype on the stage and all that, you just have
Natural.
a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Just have a bottle of water. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
Or Coca-Cola, which is quite bad. But see, I don't drink, smoke. Coke was my problem. Coca-Cola, by
Yes,
the way.
Coca. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, let's make that
Coca-Cola.
clear.
Let's make it
Coca-Cola,
It's in the red
yeah.
can, people. It's in the red can.
Yeah.
So one of the things I like when I speak to people in the Latin world, and one of the things I like to understand is, especially in the UK, I mean, the Latin world in America is very
Latin
big.
or Afro-Portuguese.
So
The whole, I know
let's-
what you mean.
let's-
Yeah.
okay, let's put that together
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
community. So
Yeah.
Latin speaking.
Yeah.
And in America, it's obviously very big. I think
Facts.
the UK is playing loads of catch up, which,
Oh, yeah, facts.
and they're like thousands of years behind.
Absolutely.
So we had.
They were stuck in a different genre in the UK, because I used to travel to the US a lot, and I'm talking early 2000s. They've always been in the hip hop culture, because that's what we do, was always being very advanced. In here, they were still in grime,
So is
garage.
that one of the reasons why the UK is still behind? Because when you look at the Latin community in America, in terms of the very famous, it's usually rap, right? Is the problem that rap took time to build in the UK?
Yeah.
But
Is
not
it-
all Latin artists are rappers. You
No,
have,
there's
like-
different genres.
yeah.
Absolutely different
But
genres.
they all seem like they're still playing catch up. And I'll give you a typical example. And it's not just Latin, not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Latin world.
Yeah.
But a typical example
Yeah.
is, if you look at the rapid rise of, like, say, Afrobeats, yeah,
Mm.
came from nowhere.
Yeah. Now it's cool to be African.
Yeah.
It wasn't before.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, obviously, growing up in
I
the
grew
UK,
up in that era where, like, some of our African brothers wasn't proud to say they was African. They'll try to say they're from the Caribbean, or there was half this, half that. I've experienced that era.
so it came from nowhere, and like, the music has just gone. But the Latin community is, as much as it's not as big as the American community, it's still very big in the UK.
Yeah.
What do you think is holding? I mean, in another lifetime, we spoke to Mike Kaji.
Yeah. OG, shout out Mike Hyatt.
Yes,
Brr.
another OG.
No, that's the bro. That's the bro.
Yeah, he's
Good brother, man.
so, and we were talking to him, and he was talking about his experiences. What's the ceiling? What's making it not boom as it should boom? Because the music is wonderful, the culture is wonderful, the people are wonderful.
I think
What do you think is not making it? Especially you're kind of an OG in the sense.
Yeah, I think with many cultures, geographically speaking, put it this way, it happens in our background cultures as well. As good as you are, because you are part of that community, it's almost like you need to become big elsewhere for you to become bigger where you at.
So be recognized by a different community.
Even your own community, but in the diaspora.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. When I started rapping in Portuguese, but I'm here in London. It wasn't until I started to make trips and shows and concerts over there that people over here started to appreciate more of what I did.
Yeah.
Now I'm going on radio back home. Now I'm going on TV back home. But I've been doing it here. They wasn't paying as much attention. But as soon as they tune in and they see me on TV, Or they see me doing a big show back home. Oh, I saw you back home. I saw you on TV. I heard you on radio. Now the respect is different. And I feel like with a lot of communities, unfortunately, it's like that. So you know, you may look at some, like you mentioned, some of the Latin communities. There's huge amounts of talent in the UK. But that's the UK scene. Why aren't they as big back home as they are here?
So is it
Music
like,
is universal, right?
yeah, so is it like a, what's the word, like tit for tat? So you could be big here,
And not
wonderful,
big over there.
and not big over there. You could be big over there, but not big here.
Yeah,
But then can't you can be big both, right?
you can do. And that would be ideal. And that's what we're all striving for.
So, but then removing it from the community, though, you're also striving for universal acknowledgement. Well, acknowledgement, validation, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. How would that work? Obviously, music. Anyway, the way music works, you don't actually need to understand what the person is saying. But is there so somebody like you that is actually a rapper? Is it harder compared to every other genre?
Yeah, it's more restricted, I think, with different genres, depending on what path you choose. It's more accepted, you know, like you could jump on an Afro beat. You don't have to say much, you know. The vibe alone, you could play that in China, you have people bubbling. I'll come with a rap, they'd be like,
Not quite sure about this
do
guy.
you understand? It's about, yeah, it's about the vibe, you know. Yeah.
So with Korak, we have the Korak live events and musicians, original music, backing track, but original. I want to hear your voice. In terms of live music, how does it go with rappers? How does it flow? Do you enjoy doing live performances more than you enjoy doing studio performances? What do you enjoy?
So I love being in the studio, the whole creative process, the time I spend with the engineer, change this, add that. Because by the time you hear our song, you're going to listen to a song that's like 3 minutes. Yeah, great song. We've spent hours, days, sometimes weeks trying to get that song right. Some people will record a song. Nah, that doesn't sound right. They'll go back, they'll record the song again to give you the final product. When we give you the final product, we're giving you more than a song. We're giving you a piece of us. You know, you didn't see the creative process. You know, I'm up 2 o'clock in the morning writing this lyric. I've spent 6 hours in the studio only for you to listen to a 3-minute song. So I love that aspect of the creative process. And when you then come to perform live and you see the reaction you get from those very songs that you've worked so much on, it brings a different type of joy out of you. And it's something that money can't buy. I can't really explain. You know, I've had people, followers sending me messages, oh, your song helped me through a very dark phase I was going through, you know, thank you so much. I go back, oh, I remember when I wrote that song. It was at 4 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I got up. And that song has changed someone's life, gave someone hope, whatever it was. So when you come to perform live and you see the reaction, money can't buy that. So I love both aspects. I love the creative process, being in the studio, creating it from scratch, and then performing it and seeing the reaction, good or bad, because not everyone's going to gravitate towards your music. You know?
So what are in terms of, like especially when you were talking about people not talking about their failures, what has been a really tough time for you? Did you ever get to a point you're like, I'm not going to do this no more?
All the time. I go through that on a daily basis.
So what keeps you going?
It's the motivational messages that I get from people that I don't even know them. As in, I don't know them personally. They'll send me a message and say, look, your music helped me. I didn't like rap until I heard your first project or until I heard that song with such and such. I remember there was a teenager that he was an orphan. And one time he messaged me on social media saying, look, telling me his story. He was an orphan and he lived in an orphanage place. And as a birthday present, all he wanted was for me to go and perform there. So when you get messages like that, for me, speaking for myself, that's what keeps me going, you know?
In terms of you fake is a new real too.
Yeah.
When is touring going to start for that? When are you going to be out there and doing a lot of live performances?
If I'm honest, that project was something very unique. I'd done something different, something that I had never done. I got my core audience to pick what kind of instrumentals they wanted me to rhyme on, and I basically gave them what they wanted. So I'm glad, I got invited to this platform so I can actually speak about it. I hadn't spoken about the project in such manner.
Please do. Thank
So
you.
Fake is a New Real was chosen by the audience. They picked all the beats. They sent me a bunch of instrumentals, and I decided to give back. I wasn't really thinking about touring or anything like that because it's a mixtape. I don't have the copyright to a lot of beats.
Yep.
But I do aim to start working on my next project soon. And for that one, yeah.
One of the things that interests me especially with rappers and, especially in that Latin community and the kind of rap that you do, the collaborations that you have. For example, when you did Don Jagger.
Don Jagger, yeah.
Don Jagger. What I keep
Yeah.
saying
Jagger, yeah.
Don Jagger.
Don Jagger, yeah.
Do you want to do more collaborations with people that are not just in the Latin world? Do you?
I would like to.
What's stopping you from doing that?
Nothing's stopping me.
Have you reached out to anybody before to go, I would like to do some stuff for you?
I've spoken to some artists. For example, me and Mike.
Well, that was sick.
Everyone wants that.
Give the people what they want.
Yo,
Man,
Mike, what's cracking, bro?
Give the
What's
people
cracking?
what they want.
No, we've had a lot of people like in the Latin community, the Portuguese, because Mike is an OG, you know what I mean? He gets busy. Let's get that out of the way. Freestyle, written, Mike gets busy. Yeah, and I've had several people say, yo, you and Mike should do a song together. And we've spoke about it. Me and Mike, we said, yo, bro, let's get it. Let's do it. It just hasn't happened. I guess when it does happen, it's just going to be so organic.
What do you think you guys will call it? OG wisdom.
I don't know.
I can see you doing a lot of collaboration. Okay,
but it'll be good.
First of all, in the Latin world, you and Mike obviously be sick.
Yeah.
I can see you and Braden.
Absolutely. I spoke to Braden about that too.
There you go.
It's funny how you've mentioned those two names and we've actually spoken about it.
I can see you and Sasheli doing
She's
something.
great. So Sasheli, she performed in my album release party.
Oh, nice.
She was one of our guests. Mike was one of our guests. He was actually meant to be the host. But last minute circumstances, Mike couldn't make it. But Sasheli, she came. She did
she's good. She's sick. I mean,
she's amazing.
If she watches this, congratulations on, when she performed at the Colombia game. Colombia versus Spain. She was big.
Yeah.
I ran into her. And
Duku performed there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ran into her.
Shout out to Duku as well.
And Camden.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I scared her.
I want to do a song with her. I want to do a song with a lot of people.
She was looking at me like, oh, hi. I don't know. I think I scared her. Not quite sure. But yeah, other than the Latin world, who's the one artist you want to forget? What genre rapper? Who would you like
I
to? I
gravitate a lot to American rap. I listen to a lot of rap from the US.
I mean, it doesn't have to be rap, but let's stick in the UK. Who would you? Who's that commercial person out there that you like to do stuff with?
I haven't thought about it.
Let's think now.
I haven't thought about it. It gets territorial with the UK. I might mention a name or two, and then
that's fine. At least let the people know, because one of the things I believe is that, like, and you even said so, sometimes you need to step out of your community for people to know who you are.
Yeah.
So let's take that first step. Who would you like?
As a known person? You're talking about somebody that's known?
Known, unknown, whoever.
I like Dave.
Yeah, Dave
I like his message.
Would you say Dave is a bit like your self-conscious rapping?
Yeah. So you can kind of see why I've driven towards him. Like, I like his message. Central C is dope, but then it starts getting political when I start mentioning certain names like that. But yeah, I like his music. I think he's good. I mean,
what do you do other than music? What keeps you going?
What do I do other than music?
Yeah, so obviously you're a dad.
Spare time.
Yeah,
like, how do I entertain myself?
Like one of the things that you said is, who am I when nobody's watching? Who are you when nobody's watching?
I keep myself to myself a lot. So
is this an OG thing? Because a lot of OGs say this. Man, I just want to be by myself. Man, I don't want you to be by yourself. I'm going to break into that room. What do you keep yourself to yourself?
What do I do in my spare time? I read a lot. I watch lots of documentaries. I work out every chance I get. I'm not like a gym rat, but I try to, you know what I mean,
Keep fit.
keep that balance. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. I don't really go out unless I have a reason to. Like, if you invite me to go somewhere, I'll pull up. You know, if it's someone's birthday to celebrate,
Yes.
I'll be
And I'll
there.
pull up when you invite me for
Yeah.
all the other stuff. Just saying,
Yeah.
just in case
But
you've
just
forgotten.
on my day to day, like, I'm not really an outgoing type of person.
So you like to just be a... So you're like a...
I enjoy my
a
own company.
semi-introvert.
I enjoy my company a lot. For some reason,
It's
I
a good
just-
thing. It's a good thing.
I
You're
enjoy my
being
company
confident
a
and
lot.
comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned was you know your path
Mm-hmm.
and where your path is going to lead to.
Yeah.
What is that? Where is that place? And what is the path?
When I meant I know my path, as far as music, like I've been doing this for a long time, and like we've mentioned, there's days I don't even feel like doing it. It depends. You know, some days I wake up and I'm like, I should put out another project, and there's days I'm like, I'm done with rap. It's hard to explain, but sometimes it does go that way. But as far as the music, one of the reasons why I still do it is because I still feel like I can add a lot of value to the culture. I feel like I'm a voice, you know, I'm a voice that can still be heard. The moment I feel like I've got nothing to contribute, nothing positive to say, if I feel like I'm falling off as far as my skill level, I'll retire.
What is... You say you like your music to have messages.
Yeah.
What's the one message you feel that you've been trying to say that people haven't listened to?
You know, I think people are catching up to it. I think it's okay to be yourself. So if I was to sum it up, you know, be who you are. Be comfortable in your skin. You know, a lot of people, artists, let's say people in general, they've got identity crisis, you know. It's okay to be who you are, you know. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. You know what I mean? Just be comfortable in your own skin. So for the most part, my message when I try to put out a positive message is you can be who you are, and that's okay. You know what I mean? You don't have to be the most popular. Just try to be the most authentic you can be.
Well, BK Creative, there's no need for me to introduce you. Just ask your question. Just ask your question.
People might be thinking, "Why I've been so quiet today," but I've genuinely just enjoyed this conversation between two
you've
OGs.
said nothing.
No,
Bro,
no.
do you know what
I'm
it
a
is?
young G.
No,
I'm
no,
a
no,
young
no.
G.
He's an OG as well. But do you know what it is? Sometimes I feel like, obviously not to put an age gap into it, but sometimes it's just good to listen. As someone that's creative in my own aspects, I think it's cool to just listen to people's experience.
Right.
I think a lot of time, the new generation especially, we try and we know how to do everything. And I was having this conversation the other day with one of my friends, and I was just like, I've learned a lot from just people's experiences, and I've been able to look up to people. I mean, don't tell him, but I look up to Jay sometimes, you know, like
Right.
experiences, you know, how not to talk to women, all that stuff.
You sponge what's the good out of
You
it.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As you should.
Yeah. But my question to you is, as someone who's been in the game for the time that you've been in, I'm sure you still have a lot to give. What would you say, like, I'm coming into hip hop tomorrow, or I'm that young 13, 14-year-old, or the young you,
Yeah.
like, from your experiences,
Yeah.
what, I know a lot of people say I don't have regrets, I don't have those kind of things, but how do you guide someone into this world of music and let them be as authentic as possible for themselves, not just follow the crowd? Like, what is
Yeah.
your advice to them?
You hit the nail straight. Me coming up as a younger self, I was so worried what other people would think. Oh, if I do this, oh no, they might think that of me. And I would tell this younger generation to be as original, you know, and just stay focused. It's easy to be distracted nowadays. Too many opinions, too many diversions, you know. As long as you've got an aim and you stick to it, there's going to be ups and downs. You know, it's not always sunny. There will be rainy days, but eventually when the sun comes back around, you'll enjoy it more, you know, because it's not just about the final destination. It's about the journey, you know. the journey is what makes it more interesting. The experiences you go through, people you meet, the upsets, the ups and downs. I'm actually grateful for the bad times that I encountered, because it gave me the experience. It made me realize things. If I hadn't gone through those experiences, I wouldn't have known. So I'm actually grateful for everyone or anyone that's done me dirty, backstabbed me. It was a learning experience, you know. So I'm actually grateful for that. It sounds a bit grey, but no, I'm really grateful for that, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to be where I am now. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I respect it. I love the
There
answer.
you go, ladies and gentlemen. For all the young ones listening, that's words from an OG himself. And of course, you know, there needs to be a new word for an OG that is still in the move. There needs to be a new
There's
word.
a double OG.
Oh no,
Yeah,
you're not double OG.
Yeah.
yet.
No, I'm not. I'm not there yet. I'm not there
Not
yet.
double OG yet. Blessing is in his mind.
Never that.
In his mind.
I'm
not
a baby boy, man.
So you being a question for you.
Oh, okay.
You being in the creative process, you obviously deal with younger, older people. Like, what's your inspiration? Like, what drives you to do what you do?
It's interesting because it's nothing to do with creativeness. Like, it's my experiences. I would say I love the fact that I have the culture, like being African myself. I'm originally from Zimbabwe.
Right.
When I went out there and I just got to experience culture, that was so motivating. Sometimes for me, a lot of the things that motivate me have nothing to do with holding a camera. Sometimes it might just be someone's story, like hearing someone talking about their life experiences. Just watching the sunset over like the horizon. Random little things like that always kind of motivate me to be like, do you know what, like I want to carry on doing what I'm doing, because it gives me the capabilities to to experience life like that. I think that's my inspiration for
purpose,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, this is first time a guest
Exactly.
decided to ask you a question, and I like it. I like it. I want to clip this part. Your inspiration, the sunset, romantic guy, and all that stuff. I like it. Poetic has been wonderful, man. It's been good.
I appreciate you
understanding.
guys having me. You know, I felt like it was overdue.
Yeah,
We spoke about it before,
yeah,
but
did.
we had to reschedule some dates.
It was
But
good.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, thank you for coming on. It's amazing. Probably gonna have more conversations to come,
Yeah.
and I'll draw some more things out of you. And
Yeah.
of course,
Because conversation just flows, and when you leave, we didn't speak about that. We didn't speak about that. It's
it's
just so
one
many.
of the, which is good. It means you
Yeah.
can come back.
Yeah,
I like it.
facts.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like
I'll
it.
be back. Yo.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That is our guest for today. Of course, Rhyme Poetik with a K, people. Listen to the
Absolutely.
new album, Fake is a New Real too.
Yep.
And of course, get him on all platforms where you can listen to amazing music. It's been amazing, people. For now, it's goodbye from BK Creative.
I'll see you guys in the next one.
Big shout out and goodbye from Rhyme Poetik.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me. Peace, love, and harmony.
There
Bang.
you go, bang. And I'm MC Sabi Boy Martins.
Yeah.
Yep.